Right, how you all doing? I've been recommending the Lenovo Legion 5 2021 model to my mates who want to maybe get out of the £100 laptop, burner laptop kind of pile, or old school Mac pile, and come to something a bit more modern. Or maybe they want to leave console and they want to stretch their legs, see what PCs can do, but they don't want to burn a huge amount of cash. And well, my mate DeWald got a Lenovo Legion 5 and he swore by it, right? And for the money, and especially for the time, fantastic bang for buck. Not bad for the cash. You could play games with ray tracing, you could play at decent frame rates. It's pretty solid. For a budget gaming machine, top notch, right? And I'm gonna say it, definitely budget, because the graphics card in my PC as it stands it was over £1,000. Now when my Zephyrus G14 died, I grabbed a Legion 5 and I'd been recommending them to my friends too, because they're pretty sound machines for the money. Most definitely. Basically the price of my graphics card, you'd have a full computer. I didn't think that was a bad deal. Well, I tried VR on the Legion yesterday. And not only did I try to play VR on the Legion, I tried to stream it. And that was not great. It turned into a slideshow. I had people in my stream telling me they could literally count the frames. And that really puzzled me, because the laptop wasn't really getting used. VRAM was getting flooded, which was kind of worrying, because there's only 6 gigs of VRAM on it, on the laptops, the 3060s and the laptops, and it was within spec of the things I wanted to play, from what I could tell, right, with the exception of maybe VRAM. But VR was spec'd originally to run on a 1060 at 6 gigs of RAM. That's what VR was kind of based on. This was a few years back, but it was based on that kind of groove. And any older games would have that as kind of the spec for it. But I found that even those were having trouble. I was so confused. I was so puzzled, and I felt gutted. Absolutely gutted that I went on an adventure today to see what can we do about it. And you can play VR on the Legion 5. You can. Just probably not as well as I'd hoped. For what reason, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll go through the processes. First thing that had to go, right? Last night, fucking old McAfee decided, VR chat, mate. You don't want that on your computer. You don't want that on your computer. That's bad for you, that is. McAfee tried to nuke VR chat. Didn't say anything about League of Legends. But VR chat, ooh, didn't like that. So, sorry John, you had to go. McAfee antivirus, or any antivirus realistically, if it's got firewall rules built in, can cause issues with stuff like Oculus Link, AirLink, any virtual desktop, that kind of thing. If you want to actually get a good trick of things that could be going wrong on your machine, that could be causing issues with VR, if you're not using a wired headset at least, install virtual desktop, because that'll come up with a whole warning sheet of stuff that's like causing you problems. Right, so I installed virtual desktop. Now I like virtual desktop. It's a great piece of software. It's a way that you can connect wireless VR headsets to your laptop or your PC. The idea being that if you've got a standalone headset, you can run a client on the headset and run a server on the PC or the laptop, and it will just squirt, encode the feed of the thing and push it to the standalone headset, and then the client will go of whatever you're doing with your controls and squirt that back to the server, to the main machine, right? cracking piece of software. It's the same kind of idea as what Oculus Link and Oculus Air Link do, or Meta Air Link, or Air Link, what the hell ever they're calling it these days. It's the same groove, right? But virtual desktop gives you more control, more options. So, headset on, boom, hit the button, and I jumped into Zenith. And you know what? I started a live stream of it. And when I did the Stutterfest, the slideshow, I had to play the game at like grass density 25% or something around that area, in the 30s, low settings, slideshow. Virtual desktop, all of a sudden, high settings. No problem. No problem. Occasional encoder overloading and that, but it was working. Grand. Groovy. Okay, so virtual desktop's installed. I didn't want to install virtual desktop, but goddamn it, I installed virtual desktop. Trying to keep my audio devices clean, and virtual desktop comes with a virtual audio device. Oculus has a virtual audio device. That's the only reason I didn't really want to install it, but it's a cracking piece of software, and if anyone has like a Pico or a Quest or a Quest 2, that's the software you want. In fairness, virtual desktop was doing the whole wireless VR thing before Oculus actually put the thing together themselves, or Meta put their package together themselves. So it's really well optimized, and it uses less VRAM than AirLink and Link. It's really nice software, nicely optimized, but you have to be hooked up to a wireless router to use it. You can't just wire in like you can with the Oculus stuff. So plus side, things work. Downside, have to be near a router or something. Oculus has the added benefit, or Meta has the added benefit, I keep saying that, the added benefit of having a D-Link stick, a Wi-Fi stick, that you can just into your laptop or your PC now, and that'll hotspot, and you can Air Linky, and I don't think that'll work with virtual desktop. But so there's the next step. We know that the performance issues aren't entirely down to the laptop, because we've just had virtual desktop running. I was like, alright, okay. Let's see how things go on Belial, my PC. Fucking thousands of pounds worth of hardware here. Let's see how it stacks up against an £800 laptop, £900 laptop, however much it is, I can't remember now. It depends where you buy it and what SKU you get. But again, understanding just the graphics card in my PC costs more than that entire laptop. And Belial has no issues. None. Zero. Zip. Brute force, mate. My kind of groove, alright? Some things need to be done with subtlety. Finesse. Class. Not my groove, son. Brute force, kick down the door, bust some heads, fucking Leroy, job done. Which, thankfully, the laptop can kind of do that. Really? Well, it's got a little trick. The Legion 5 has a BIOS level overclock, just a one button overclock, right? You can run it at a turbo speed to start with, but if you go into the UEFI, into the BIOS, and there's a click. Would you like to overclock? Yeah. Add an extra 100 megahertz onto the GPU. And I was like, okay, cool, 100 megahertz. Might not sound like a lot, but that can take something from unplayable to playable in one button. So, turned that on, and stuff started working. And not working. And I still, at this point, can't quite put my finger on why. It's really hit and miss. There are bugs in Link. There are bugs in virtual desktop. But these things don't appear on Belial. But they do on the laptop. Even though the laptop isn't being fully utilised. Is there some kind of software control? Is it a clock speed issue? Is it a VRAM issue? I don't know. Check this out. Absolutely mental. Not a thing that happens on Belial, that happens on the laptop. At one point, Link would just hard freeze on, say, Boneworks loading screen. Hard freeze. And the game would load up, but you couldn't get out of the loading screen. Virtual desktop, that was a weird one. Boneworks loading screen, it'd load up to the exact same point, but then you get the old spinny wheel. If you quickly tap the home button and then reload it back in, the game would work. But it would work at full damned speed. Full speed, no problems, no glitches, no hitches, no nothing. Worked fine. I was like, okay. Then there was just, you could be working completely fine, full bore, settings maxed, and then, I don't know, you're fiddling around with the menus and you accidentally hit the menu button and the Steam menu comes up. The Steam VR menu comes up. Oh my god, I don't know why, but the encoder would just crap all over itself. Link especially would just give up the ghost. Almost as if to say, you had VRAM, now you don't. And literally, you could close the menu, but Link would never come back. You could be playing flawlessly, and then just hit that button and into the floor it goes. Into the floor your frame rate goes, and to the point you have to actually exit the game. You may as well just exit Steam VR and exit Link. It was mental, absolutely mental. It was just hard, just out of nowhere. I was playing Boneworks earlier. Hardcore. I tried it with their reduced resolution settings. It's working great. Absolutely brilliant. Just as a note, all of the hitches go away if you reduce your in-game resolution. So either in Steam VR or in your Oculus headset through the Oculus software, because they haven't called it the Meta software yet. Go figure. You can change the rendering resolution. Reduce it from 1 down to, say, I don't know, 0.9 on the Quest 1, or you can go all the way down to 0.7 on the Quest 2. Quest 2 has a bigger native resolution, so it just bumps it down a load, right? And you do that, and the loading hitches go away. Just completely go away. Start scaling up, and in some things you could hit the menu button to go into Steam VR and nothing, no problem. Other stuff, gone. Bump that render resolution down again though, and it'll work. It'll come back. What the? Like I said, you could be brute forcing it hardcore, having it work fine. You accidentally hit that button, and it'll never come back. Never come back. Just hard, just dead. Flickering, epilepsy, just mental. And so I got it to the point, through reducing rendering resolution, through Oculus and all that kind of stuff, to the point that I was like, you know what? This is playable and it's pretty damn consistent. Let's try and do a live stream. I thought it would work. I really did. And no. We got to a load screen, a part of the game that I'd played a bajillion times over. And no, just wouldn't have it. Wouldn't have it. All of a sudden, Link just went spare again, and I was like, oh my god, really? What is going on? So hit and miss, because as I say, there are times today when I have loaded up games that I couldn't play yesterday on low with low grass. I could have the headset set to like 1 native resolution and it work. But you look at the CPU and GPU utilization, it's like 10%, 10%, 20%, 30%. How much is being, how much VRAM is being used? Like all of it, or as near as Maz. But nothing's being touched. Nothing's being touched. To make matters worse, if you have a Quest 2, you actually have a better deal of it. So any of my mates that have Quest 2s that bought these laptops, you actually get a better deal. Because the Quest has stuff like foveated rendering. Don't need to know what any of that is, but there's some rendering techniques that you can do on the Quest 2 that allow for higher resolution, higher frame rate. It'll do like frame injection to kind of make it seem like you're getting a smoother frame rate to stop you from feeling motion sick. That's the whole point of high frame rates in VR, is to stop you from feeling sick. People who are sensitive to motion sickness, your brain sees you moving, your body ain't moving, your inner ear goes, ah, there's something wrong, and you get sick, right? The higher frame rate, or the perceived higher frame rate, stops the motion sickness. So there's the frame injection that the Quest 2 can do. The Quest 2 has an entire different set of rendering resolutions that you can use in stuff like Virtual Desktop, different techniques to allow you to hit those resolutions and stuff. It's just like... So the Quest 2 is more usable at higher resolutions because of these little tricks. More stable, but still... You hit that fucking menu button, bring up the Steam menu, and it'll just cark it. Again, not every time, but just... If you want it to work, honestly, if you're on a Quest 2, just bump the render resolution down to like 0.7 in the Oculus software. You're good. Pretty much. You're good. If you're in Virtual Desktop, just pick what you want. and run with it, right? But it just blows my mind, the random bugginess of it. Even if you lower the resolution sometimes on some modes, even just stepping one up, and it'll go, yeah, no, we're not doing it. Not doing it. We're loading, and now we're not. So I don't know. You've got to think there's so many variables right now. It's ridiculous. It's been a fun little puzzle. Frustrating, but fun, because I have got VR to work. The bit that really gets me though is that even when I'm having a great time with higher settings, just that accidental menu press and the whole thing goes. Don't need to stream it, doesn't matter. But still, if you desperately need to play these games, just lower the render resolution. Just that one bug is just really doing me. And I can't, shy of lowering the render resolution, I can't figure it out. But when you look at it, when you look at what the GPU is actually doing, the only thing even close to being tapped is the VRAM, which gets flooded the instant you start VR anyway. Because the Oculus software will go, we're going to use this much. Steam VR goes, we're going to use this much. And then the game goes, oh, well, that's all I've got left. As I say, I've tried overclocking with the BIOS overclock, removed McAfee, installed Virtual Desktop, tried closing Vanguard, which is an anti-cheat for Valorant, closed a bunch of other stuff, just make sure that the machine is as smooth, say, like running as smoothly as possible. It's actually amazing how much stuff you have on your PC that can actually cause issues with VR. And that how much we actually rely on just raw horsepower these days to get past these little hitches. I'd love to actually hook the Vive up to the little laptop, because that's Steam VR native. You can do VR on a Steam Deck if you're willing to fiddle with render resolutions enough, but yeah, I would appreciate it if I got more feedback from some of my mates about how they feel to the laptops that they've got and the computers they've got, because it depends what people consider acceptable. Because even if you look on Reddit, some people are like, yeah man, I actually had a look, I don't use Reddit. There are people like, yeah, I'm using a laptop, it's great. I started VR on a laptop. Asus ROG Strix GL503 VM. 1060, 6 gigs, 100 and some odd watts. Like fine. Games have changed a bit since then, and I was using a Rift CV1, but that is the trick, man. VR is such a beast compared to just regular gaming, because a regular game is just rendering one image on one display. You got to double that image up to put it into VR. You got to run it at a high frame rate, high resolution. Just, it's a lot of work. Sorry, guys. We have managed to play some VR together, and it has been nice, and I do. That's been great. It has been great, and I will still use the laptop for VR. I am personally just a bit bummed I can't stream with it. If only more VR games used something like DLSS. And yes, I know you can use AMD FSR in VR, just depends how well it hooks in, how well it actually works. And if you're streaming it, people in your stream get a really shit image. So I would rather take the visual hit myself versus something else. But anyways, I've been ranting on for like fucking 12 hours, and yeah, VR on laptops. It is a thing, but you're going to have to work for it. You're not going to be doing what most people say, oh yeah mate, I'm going to 1.1 on the old resolution scale, or 1.5, or oh mate, I'm going to go even higher. It's like, yeah, no, you're not doing that on a laptop. You can, but yeah. I still stand by the fact they're good machines. I still recommend them, but shit's buggy and it's fun and frustrating all at the same time. I'm going. I hope you're all well, and I'll see you all with a bit of luck in the next one. More VR, more laptops, more you. I need to get everyone into VR chat and we can all fucking talk about it. I'll fire up on Belial and we can all just sit in, I'll record it and we'll chat shit for a bit. How does that sound?